Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of ESTA TALK. Today, we are honored to have with us one of the most influential string pedagogues of our time, Géza Szilvay. He is best known for the development of the Colourstrings method, a revolutionary approach that has shaped generations of musicians worldwide. Before we start, I'd like to remind you that the last episode of ESTA Talks is already available on our YouTube channel. In that conversation, we had the pleasure of speaking with Miriam Viger, the host of the ESTA International Conference 2025, which will take place in May in Amersfoort, the Netherlands. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend it out to learn more about this exciting event. Additionally, I'm thrilled to announce the launch of the Géza Szilvay workshop series starting this March. This will be a unique opportunity for teachers and students to dive deep into the Colourstrings method directly with Géza himself. Now, without further ado, let's welcome our special guest, Géza Szilvay. Géza, thank you so much for being here today with us. So let's start calm and friendly with your personal story. How did you first get into music and what led you to choose the violin? Could you share with us your childhood?
George, many thanks for these beautiful forewords. But immediately I would say that actually I have never said that this is the best. And then the coloring is not a violin method, actually. And it is a philosophy. It is a commit, community creating philosophy. It is completely different than those what is happening in the universities. No, community. I succeeded in Finland to build up 6 generation of communities, and from these communities always were coming stars and great players, but always without competition. It is completely different philosophy than the ruling philosophy in Europe or Asia. Community. I always created community in a small place in Helsinki, a bigger place. Then with TV programs, I always did the community. And that is when children are growing up in a community, then their development will be always healthy, balanced, and not a turbo teaching. You understand if I say turbo teaching? That sort of teaching is dangerous. It creates fantastic soloists, but on top, I question, is this soloist a happy person? If I made this soloist, this great one, with the help of the community, this will be happy. And now your question that I was born in a family. We had 4 children. My father was a university professor, but he was a very good cellist. And you can imagine Hungary in the 50s when I was a child. That was in Europe the most difficult time. Behind the iron wall, we were really subjugated Hungarians, and we had only one light. That was the name Zoltán Kodály. This was one thing that music was like a asylum, a place where you could come back, where the politics could not interfere. In my family, we were playing daily together. So I was uh, grown up in a family where music was a normal part of, like brushing the teeth or eating. Music was normal everyday occupation. And even today, I would say that if my children are practicing at home, I can sleep very, very well, even if someone next to me playing. Uh, and sometimes when I was a director in a music institute in Finland, and teachers were coming and they said that I can't practice because my neighbor is knocking the door. And so I always said that we had such neighbors that, for instance, we played a Brahms sonata, and then a telephone was calling, and then he said that you play always a note wrong again and again. So we had such neighbors who were listening us, and they were clapping or criticizing. So community, the family was a community, and therefore chamber music. I was learning chamber music immediately. It is in my blood. And then this community thinking and this chamber music playing, I could make it with my pupils. And here, something which probably a good advice for ESTA, that string orchestras are the best community because the string orchestra, it includes individual teaching, chamber music, and orchestra tuition. So it is a all round. And therefore, I would always advise people that don't do the symphony orchestra too early. Start with the string orchestra, enjoy later on with the brass and the woods. But the beginning, and I would say that the first and the secondary level, the string orchestras are the best community where the children really can be, they cannot be a tutti player. In a string orchestra, everyone can be heard, and therefore the technique and musically they will develop. So that is community, and this is my background in Hungary, family background, and it was obvious that we play and that I will take violin seriously. And I have never been compelled to be a violinist. My father said that after the A level, you can go to the university or to the academy. And here, please, to ESTA people, I would say that in Finland, I could make a school, a primary and a secondary school, where the children were receiving every day music. We proved in Finland the Kodai idea that music is not taking away energy or motivation from the other subjects. On the contrary, it multiplies the energy for the children. It multiplies the result, and it even mathematics, biology, history will be better if the children are actively doing music daily in the normal schedule of the school. When I when I took this position, president of ESTA, this was George. You know, that was my dream. That this school, what I established in Finland, we could introduce in every capital in European cities and in every bigger city. Until now, I could not succeed this, but still I firmly believe that the future in Europe is that the music, instrumental or singing, should be reintroduced in the daily activity of the children, and it should not be considered by the decision makers as a after the school activity, as a hobby. Not at all. It is not a hobby. It should and must belong to everyone. These are big words, but In my life, in the 50s and the 60s, Kodály could make it. In Hungary in the 50s, everyone was playing and singing. The concert halls were filled. Hungary was musically a great power because of the philosophy of Kodály. And George, that was your question, that how I started. I was grew up. I grew up in Hungary, and that time, the 50s and the 60s, still this Kodály idea, philosophy was lingering in Hungary, and it was ruling the educational atmosphere.
Could you explain a few words about this Kodály philosophy, just for people that are not so that doesn't know so well? Could you resume somehow?
Kodály was pressing. This was what he said, that music should belong to everyone, and for the children and for the young, only the best is good enough. So that was interesting. If you think that it should belong to everyone, but with a quality. So not so that a little bit I am doing something. It should belong, but with a quality. This that it should belong, that was a message to the decision makers, ministries, governments, and that only the best is good enough. Then it is a message for the teachers, that a teacher cannot take a student like, oh, it is a hobby. No, you teacher, you have to give your best for this particular child or young people who is in front of you. So I think so these two ideas, and he made, George, he made it that in our schools, in every school in Hungary, not only in the capital, music was daily, and in after the war, it was singing. Kodály realized that to buy violin, cello, or piano is not available for everyone. So he took the singing voice like a most democratic instrument. But when we were singing every day in the school, then naturally, after the singing, many thousands of children started to play the violin, cello, because it is a natural development from the singing voice. So that is that.
What what age the children start to learn from the Kodály method?
Uh,
Uh,
from kindergarten.
Kindergarten or
In kindergarten teachers in the 50s in Hungary, everyone had a music diploma. Every kindergarten teacher, be it in the smallest village, he had the diploma, like a bachelor diploma. So
wow,
it's
this
every.
is really a musical country.
That was. Well, after Kodály's death, naturally it was less and less and less, but still it is lingering there. Still.
So all Hungarians learn to sing many years.
Actually, yes. Yes. Actually, yes. And then Kodály said that actually there is no such a person who is not talented. It is deeper, this talent, and then a good teacher can bring it out and develop.
And they sang in a choir, in the choir of the classroom, yeah, not alone.
Classroom, yeah, classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately with the hand signs, duos.
Mm-hmm.
After the war, there was no paper.
Mm-hmm.
This was do, re, mi, fa, so, la, ti, do. So that was very good. Immediately we could play do, mi, do. So the school, the class was divided into two. And from two hands, immediately all the intervals were taught.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then
Fantastic.
this was a wonderful thing. And please note that it was not Kodai's idea. Actually, Kodai was taking it from England. That was from England when he went before the First War. He went to England and he could realize that, they are using these hand signs and that they are using the solmization. So Kodai took it home from England and developed it naturally then later on.
So you went to the kindergarten and you start to sing.
I was not in the kindergarten,
Yeah.
but it was not at that time. It was not compulsory. But my mother was singing. My mother,
Okay.
so my
But
mother.
so the children start in the kindergarten and until when they have music.
So in the kindergarten, it is 100%. So I am not
Mm-hmm.
exaggerating that they were singing every
Mm.
day. Plus, in the radio, there was daily singing lessons from the main channel radio for the kindergarten.
Wow.
Still, even in the 70s, maybe this name, Katalin Forrai, probably it is known. So she was doing it from the radio. And after when the children, we start school age at 6. And then the school, the normal school, 8 years school, we had a daily singing lesson, 45 minutes. And then in the gymnasium, that is the secondary school, 4 years before tertiary level, we had 2 times a week a choir
Mm.
or orchestra. Then it was already specified. But that Hungary was singing. Hungary was a land of a singing land.
Wow.
And
This is
uh,
really amazing.
uh, hopefully,
Well,
that singing is communication between people. It is like talking. And if singing is disappearing, then Kodai wrote that if singing is disappearing, then at the end, we will be computers. That he wrote a beautiful article that we will be robots. He said, robots. If singing disappears, the human will turn into robot.
so please everybody start to sing. Sing always.
We are singing
Okay. And when and then you suddenly start to want to sing with your violin.
exactly, exactly.
So yes. So when it was, you was very young or
5 years old, 6 years
mm.
old, five. Yeah, yeah.
And how it was? You ask your parents you want to play and they choose a teacher or you go to a school how it was.
This was interesting. My father dreamed that every child, we were four, that everyone will be cellist because he loved the cello. So he wanted to the cello. But then I don't know who have decided, but I don't remember. But I find the violin and I started. And this is interesting now for people when I say I started with gut strings. Uh, there were no chin rest and all those things. It was not easy. There were no ready shoulder rest. My mother had to make the pillow for the violin. Uh, Again, the violin lessons were community together. We were several children together. The teaching was individual, but always combined with a duo, trio. So I inherited this sort of community playing, doing it together. And immediately I was in a music school. Kodai very, very well succeeded to make a network all over Hungary, the schools almost free of charge. Every child could get a lesson. There was no problem with the paying. So that was really beautiful thing to find good instruments. That was not easy. At that time, the 16 size violins were very rare. 8 size violin, we could get it from the Czech Republic. But at that time, the level and the teaching level was good in Hungary. So when I just remember back, it is always positive, though competitive. That is
Mm.
true. That inside this warm community, then there were, with those who are getting good, there was a danger that they went into this competitive world, and that was naturally the Hungary was in the shadow of the Russian system, and
Yeah.
the it's everyone knows, and it is not negative to say, but in Russia at that time in the 50s, the competition, you had to win an international competition that you are recognized. There was no,
Mm.
uh, uh, almost I would say that in this competitive world, the amateurism died altogether. Because then only fine musician, only fine musician, only fine musician.
Mm.
So we
Do you
have
do you remember, Gaza? Do you remember the first time you played and a concert and let all your family very happy and well, little child played the violin. That's fantastic. Do you remember? Do you have a memory of this?
Uh, I do have. I do have. It was we won some competition, and then those who won the competition they could go and play in the academy. I was 7, maybe 8, and Kodai was sitting there, and then we were queuing to get the dedication from Kodai, and then he was so dear that he was giving for us a small paper, and he wrote there some bars and us sing it. He was controlling whether we can sing it. So that was something beautiful, and then immediately controlled. Then can you sing it? Can you read the music well? Yeah. So he did for everyone 5 lines quickly, a clef and some dots. That was the first time in the academy, in the Liszt Academy. This is such a place. It's a fantastic. I guess you played in the main hall.
Mm. Yes.
And George, when I went back to the academy with my orchestra from Helsinki several times, that was for me uh, feeling the dream in the same place where Kodai, Bartók, Dohnányi were. Then I could be with my children, my young people. I could be there. That was a fantastic feeling.
And how uh, and when do you it was appear in your mind that you want to be musician? That you decide, well, I want to be musician, that I want to make it professionally.
This is an interesting question because it was so obvious that I will be a musician, and I after the A level, the Matura A level, I did it in 61, and immediately got a place in the conservatory, and I made the diploma 66 May, and in June I was already sitting in a professional orchestra. So it was everything was so how to say automatic. I had no time to think. That was coming everything. Interesting, and greetings to ESTA people that nowadays to get a place in a professional orchestra, in a good, a major orchestra, for a tutti place, I know it exactly in Finland, there are more than 100 people for one tutti place. In 66, I made the diploma in May, and we were 4 or 5 getting into the professional orchestra, and all we got the place. All we got the place. So it was so much easier to get a good orchestra position. But to answer your question, then when I got everything was so, I would say, easy, then I thought that I wish to do something else as well. So I went to university, and I was studying law because international law interested me very much. And I went, and then I had to stop in the orchestra. instead, I went to teach in the Hungarian radio, and I was the chamber music and violin teacher of the Hungarian radio's children choir, which was honestly one of the best choirs in the world in this time from 66 and until 70. I was teaching there daily or weekly, not too much, but that was for my today profession a big school that I learned how to teach. So that was interesting. I could work with the university rector gave me, I think so, 7 or 10 hours a week that I could be in the radio, and then I was studying, and I was studying the law, and I made my diploma in law. But then I was then young, still 20ish. I looked at the paragraphs. Every year it is changing. And I looked at the key signature. It is never changing. So I thought that I stick to the one which is always valid. So a C major is always C major. In the criminal law, one paragraph is changing, which is criminal today,
Yeah.
is
Yes.
something not criminal. So I abolished everything with the law studies, and then I concentrated on music. And here I am, over 80, and
So
doing.
yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing so much with us. But so how old were you when you started in the orchestra?
How young? 60. Actually, when I was in the academy, in the second year, then we were already freelancers in the radio orchestra, opera orchestra.
What, 18, 19?
19.
And do you remember the first time you got a salary?
Soloist.
No. First salary, money from music.
First salary. Interesting. That I don't. And George, at that
You don't have this something that you bought with your own money. So,
the money. It's interesting the question. There was no money in Hungary. There was no things what to buy. You
mm,
see, that was not interesting. There was no such thing that if I have money, I could buy this or this. There were no items to buy. Uh, so then, not a. It's a joke. We had to cod liver. You know what is cod liver? Cod liver.
uh,
This is a terrible thing. What we had to eat.
yes, I know. It's good for vitamin. Yeah,
D vitamin.
I know.
Then our father said that we have to take this one, and then we got €1 for it, and
Mm.
it was well, €100 together. Then you could ask, what did you buy from the 100? Another liter cod liver. So there was not such an option that I buy this one or this one. So
Yeah.
probably this is the reason I don't remember the first salary. But it was interesting in the conservatory and in the university that we got quite a good scholarship. When I was good with the results,
Mm.
then the university and the academy gave us a scholarship. But honestly, we did not go to the to the orchestras because of the money. Probably now I think I'm mistaken, but uh, because we liked to play in the orchestra. That was a big appreciation when the first time you put on the tailcoat.
Wow. Yeah.
That was something. This I remember when the first time a tailcoat I could put on. I could dress in a tailcoat. that was something.
And how it was the relation with your family? Your parents were proud of you. How it was? It
Very
was used to be proud, like parents like motivate the children and.
proud, yes, but never pushing, honestly.
Mm,
But proud and supportive, but never ever pressing or
mm.
pushing up, but never, never.
Well, going back to this cod liver oil, I have a friend, doctor, very famous now in Portugal, that he is saying this is really important because of the vitamin D. He said that this could help us much more than the vaccine for example, COVID. If you have enough cod liver in ourselves and all these vitamins that are there, our immunitary system is more strong, and we could deal with virus. So I am taking it, and this winter I was not sick, so it works.
Okay, very
So
good.
you see, your parents were good with you. Well, let's back to Gaza because it's your session. Let's try to find how you start to teach and where did you start to teach already in Hungary or only in Finland?
No, in Hungary, in the radio, I had something like 7 children, and I
Mm-hmm,
take it them basic and secondary level.
mm-hmm,
And so that was a very, very good opportunity for me that I could study. And in the university, in the academy, we had pedagogy. I think so, 3 times a week, if I am okay, if I remember well. And we had to teach there regularly, and it was controlled. So
mm-hmm,
when I got my diploma, I was not only a player, a ready player, if anyone can be ready with the violin, but a well-equipped teacher. Uh, we got a very good education, how to teach, what to teach, when to teach, because these are the questions that how to, when to teach, and what to teach, and why to teach. These questions were answered by the conservatory. So when I started to teach in Finland, this was not a surprise for me. The problem was in Finland, the problem that I was thinking that I am coming to a conservatory because in the contract what I got from Finland to Hungary uh, to gain a passport. Imagine now we are in 70. I am in a communist country. You cannot travel outside.
mm-hmm,
Only if I went to play with an orchestra, we had to give back the money to Hungary. Uh, there was no when you went to the west, then you came
mm-hmm,
back and you had to give the money, and then you got it in the Hungarian forint. But the devisa, the German mark or the Finnish mark, or then it should be changed into the Hungarian money. To go to abroad for musicians and for sporters were possible. We got the passport if we paid 12% of our salary. So I got a contract from Finland, and in the contract it was written that this is a high school. So I thought that I am going to teach in a conservatory. I went there, and I was coming to Helsinki, and I was looking at asking people that where is this conservatory, and they said that this is here and there and there. Then later on, I find out that there is no building. It is a place which is hiring small little cellars, attics, in school, little rooms, and this is a small children. So instead of 15 years old, 16 years old children, I faced with 65, 6, 7 years old children. and I could not speak a word of Finnish. That was a challenge for me, a really unbelievable challenge, because naturally,
And you should teach violin. To teach violin, you are saying, yes?
yeah, yeah. And that was such a striking. The first week, I thought that I go home because I cannot talk to these children, and I was so much already believer of Kodai that if I am doing only imitation, it is not enough. Because I was so much that say that when we are teaching, then we have to use the senses, not only one sense, not only the imitation, but we have to listen and we have to see, we have to combine the reading because it makes intellectual the artisanship. So I was convinced. So I knew that imitation in itself is not enough. I have to teach the children the reading as well. Actually, this negative experience, which was for me very negative for a week or two, it made me that I was preparing for every lesson or every week a new program, and that was the start of the Colourstrings. In the same time, we were expecting in my family a child, and I knew that this child will be playing. So I, with all my uh, future father love, I was doing already uh, pages for my coming child. And actually, when this child was born in 72, my violin school first volume was ready for her. That before my first child was born, I made for this child the first violin book, which is still existing. So that was the born of the Colourstrings. If I say method, that is the method. But actually, I use this method, which is now not only one volume, but there is almost 50 volumes, more than 50 volumes, chamber music, all. I looked at how can I use this method to create community. So I'm coming back to this and this community creating that was it changed in Finland many things, and I am very grateful.
So yeah. So when it was the do you remember the first time you start to use this? It was before your child to born or only after?
The first one was Christmas 71 December. This was my first community in my life. They were something 40, 50 children playing after 17-week teaching. They were playing beautifully. I have no recordings, but I have pictures from these children. That was my, that made me violin teacher, this first concert. When I could see that those children who could not touch the violin, but with my help, after well, I started in September, 71
Mm.
September. And in 71 December, they played in a church concert beautifully. Uh, that made me violin teacher. These children are dependent on me. I made them, and they are phrasing, and they are playing, and they are smiling. That was actually many thanks for this question. This was 71 Christmas made me violin teacher.
But already with the colors
Yeah, yeah,
or
colors. Yeah, use colors.
and before before this color string, were you already used the harmonics, all these techniques that you use in the book, or this it was coming with the book?
In Hungary, when I was teaching, I was using a very good violin school, which is, I say the name because I think so many of the participants know Sándor.
Chandler, yeah.
Sándor
Yes.
Jardán, very, very good school. And I was actually using it in Finland as well, together with my own
Mm.
school. And the the harmonic was coming, I think so, only in the second year. The touching, the harmonics,
Mm,
then and the left hand pizzicato, all a little bit later, very gradually, very gradually. Around the end of 70s, when I was ready with the first, I would say the basic years, and then in the
mm.
80s the secondary years, and then so it is several years of work. But if I ask or if I answer your question, the first concept of my dear little children, that made me happy, and that made me, then I had the feeling that this is a
Mhm.
vocation and not a profession, but a vocation.
And what if you had such a good violin schools, what it was the main reason that make you to make another violin school, a new one? So
Uh,
why do you need it?
that uh, then I thought that I am using the Hungarian school, and it is not right, because this Sándor is full with Hungarian folk songs. I am in Finland, so
Hmm.
then I took a Finnish school, and this Finnish school, probably we have here some Finnish participants, Siukonen, a brilliant school, but terrible fast. So then I was using it, and then I was, in the same time I had some international children. Then I was using the our school. You know, the our school is 10 volumes. So I had a Hungarian school, a Finnish school, and an international school, the our school. And with these things, I was looking at what they are not covering, what subjects they are not covering. I collected always, and then as I was growing and more and internationally working, I was always buying new schools. So I have at home here something like, sure, that more than 100 schools, violin schools. And I always looked at the violin schools, and they are all wonderful schools. I did not have any bad school, but then I was counting and writing a list what they are not covering. I just say something that there is no school even today which is covering that. How you explain for children 3/8 in 1 or 6/8 in 2? How do you explain alla breve? That sort of things imitate me. It's not enough. So I started to do my school that all those musical, technical gaps, which are not in the violin schools, I made them. I collected those, how to say, unanswered question, which children are always questioning, or they don't dare to question. And I put it into the coloring book. So I think so that I could make this coloring school millimeters goes, not with meters. So it is so carefully built up, this violin school. And but if a school is very careful, you can use it quickly. But if a school is very fast, you cannot use it slowly, because then you have to repeat all the time. And children, they
Hmm.
don't like repetition.
Thank you, Geza. Very nice. We are arriving the end of the hour session time that usually is 45 minutes. We feel it's just a starting because we have such an interesting person and with such an amazing experience with us. But let's make the last question. I will do the last question, and after you must prepare your own question. So we will open the discussion to the audience. So be prepared. And before that, I just make a question that I like to do. So I let's keep it also in the style of ESTA Talks. Is that if you could make it again, what would you change?
Hmm. Uh, George, I'm now, I can afford to be honest. I would not change.
Yeah,
Several
we can
times
we can feel it. Yeah.
I, I, I was happy teacher. I had so fantastic orchestras. That made me so happy, and I believe that only happy teacher can make happy students. And the sixth generation of musicians whom I trained to the profession, that was, if I say in this way, please, my my life was blessed.
Thank you,
And
Géza. Well,
I
yeah,
believe,
we can feel it, yeah, and it's nice to be with you and feel this energy and this positive interaction with the music, children, education, community, all these amazing things. So we are open to questions together. Is there somebody wants to give?
Just wanted to say hello to Géza, and I can say he's telling the truth because I was one of the first students. And it little bit helped that my father spoke Hungarian in my case. So, so it was easier, but I learned also Hungarian from Géza. So, if he learned Finnish from us, I learned Hungarian from Géza. And it was fantastic the beginning because we were the first generation, so everything was new. The violins were sold out, and because of Géza and the TV program that he made. Thank you, Géza. Hey,
George, this man,
Mhm.
beard, he made me violin teacher with his friends and mates. He was there in this church, Roy Hoovery Church, 71 December. He is my first generation of violinists, and they made me a violinist. And so, Lauri.
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you, Laurie.
thanks.
Well, I have some questions that were sent by there is a very young member of ESTA Portugal, and she said she would like to make some questions. She was in the beginning of the session, but she had a rehearsal. She needed to end, so, but she left some questions. So I will say it's from Rita, and one of question, interesting question is that. What? Let me see. Yes. She asked. There are a lot of methods that don't learn to students to read music, and she wants to know how do you find this idea of colors and why to put colors in the different strings.
Actually, I don't remember when I started, but that was obvious for me. If we have four strings and I make it with this with different colors, then it will be easier to read. So that was to make the reading easier and to take away the burden, because the Suzuki says the burden of the reading. I wanted to take away the burden, and but then I was using wrong colors. Uh, for me, for me, the G is blue still, and E is yellow. But I was using some other colors, and then there was in Hungary a professor, a violinist, a concertmaster, and a musicologist who made a doctorate between sound and color. And he proved in a doctorate, it was in the 60s, that the vibration of the G sound and the vibration of the green is the same.
Mm.
The vibration of the D and orange is the same. The A vibrates like blue, and the E vibrates like the yellow color. So that is scientifically proved. But I think so it is very independent that how you are thinking. But that was
yes, yes. This Rita, the second question was like this: the colors are frequently linked with emotions. How does color string influence the children's emotional relationship with the music?
this I am not entitled to say that I succeeded. It was a presumption from me, and I hoped that the colors will make the children colorful more. And hopefully the colors made it more interesting, not only taking away the burden, but something plus. Every child prefers the color to black and white. It's obvious, but I can't prove that.
Well, we have a violin teacher in Portugal that she also made a book for first year. She created a book, and she also gave colors. He will meet her soon, I think. And first time I saw the book because they ask a stamp from ESTA Portugal. I saw the colors and she was using the yellow to the G. And I said, why don't you use the same colors like Colourstrings? If you are making something in colors, it will be. And he said to me, I can't because, sol, it means sun in Portuguese. So sun, sol must be yellow. So it was interesting. Yeah. Well, someone, what more questions? Or comments, anything? Please, we are community. We like to listen you.
I would just
say hello.
Hello. I would just like to thank you, Géza, because he's the reason for my violin playing and teaching and everything. Not that I haven't been in his school, but it's the TV series. It has influenced so many violinists in Finland. So thank you for that.
Dear, many thanks that you say, and the thank for it is for Brita Helenius, a Finnish lady, who was listening my lessons. She was sitting there always. She was the director of the music department in the Finnish TV, and I did not know who she is. I thought that she is a mother or she's a grandmother, and she was 1 year listening on my lessons, individual lessons, chamber music, orchestra lessons, and then after a year said that we will do a TV program for the Finnish children. And that was her idea. She's a great lady, and really many thanks that you mentioned this. The TV duty to create communities, and today the TVs should do programs with classical music much more than they do. So it was a wonderful thing in the 70s and the 80s when I could have this chance in Finland. And that would be even today valid, that the radio and the media should help the children, the young culture. In the 70s and the 80s, when my orchestra was playing, and even the 90s, we got always beautiful critics. Nowadays, there is no critic in the daily newspaper. Even when the Finnish radio orchestra or the other is playing, disappears. Young children are not getting a feedback. So the media has an enormous responsibility.
Thank you. Yes, Payut.
Hello.
Cecile, yeah.
I don't.
Okay, one at a time.
I don't speak English, but I am so happy to be here and hear Géza and to be with the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Cecile. Payut?
Cecilia
Yes.
was with me in many countries, so she understands me even when we speak English. You understand?
Yeah.
Payut?
Yes. Hello, George, and hello, Géza. Very nice always to hear you speak and share about your life. And I also want to thank you for what you have done to our country and for the music life here. Me too. I was not your student, but I always remember that you were so broad-hearted that you respected also other teachers and other methods and also me and and other young musicians. I want to thank you. Now, as we are going to see your series of lectures, would you like to just give a little nutshell of how it will be the next session? So that because I really hope that many people will take this great opportunity to hear what you want to share. So I would personally like to, if there's a little time to, because this will be recorded, this is recorded, so maybe some colleagues will hear what you want to say about your series right now. If you like, please, Géza.
Many thanks for this question, dear. When I became the president, then I thought that very honestly, how can I serve this organization? And I met with our central board members. We all think how we can serve. And then I thought that I will offer this possibility that I am doing a course, and it is not a Colourstring course. I will try to give my experience, what I got from my students and colleagues in my almost 50 years teaching time. So I will use the Colourstring material, but I try to give such messages that everyone can use. So it will not be Colourstring training course. I wish to share my experience, what I got, and I will tell them, if you use this method, you can use that, or then giving ideas to the participants, useful ideas and not restricted to Colourstrings. Sharing my 50 years experience.
Yeah, nobody must miss this. Everybody together to make a community. Yes? Géza, do you agree?
Hopefully, what I am afraid, friends, that people are thinking, and with this online, it easily comes like sightseeing bus, that hop off, hop on, hop off. That is not good. I hope that the one who starts, then it is with us. Because this hop on and hop off, it is good for sightseeing, but not for education.
Thank you, Géza. Okay, last question, also from Rita from Portugal. This can you give one very important advice, only one, or the most important advice for a young teacher to start learning Colourstrings?
It's strict Colourstrings only, or
She asked for a young teacher that wants to start using Colourstrings. Which advice do you would say?
Go through yourself the book, the first 4 books, because the 5th book is already traditional, and check it whether it is suitable for you. Do you believe in it? Do you like it? And then if you like the material, you will like it to teach. If you think so that you have bias here and there, don't do it, don't teach it. You have to, this is an equipment. You have to believe that this equipment will help you, and the tool. This is a tool. This tool you can use only if you believe that this tool is yours. At first, you have to feel that it meets your expectation, and if it does, then you can teach.
Thank you, Géza. I already did it. I went through the first two books of Colourstrings, A and B, and I really love it.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And I have to say, my son saw me with the books. He wants to do it, but he don't allow me to teach him. He say, no, I don't want you in the room because you teach. He said, because you teach. So and alone, only by watching me and trying himself, he'll learn to read music with this book. So it's amazing. Yeah.
All of you, I would say that, please believe me, I don't want to make ESTA and the word Colourstrings. No, only for those who are in this philosophically there. No, there are many, many very good violin schools. Very honestly, I don't want to make this. No.
Okay, thank you very much, Géza. Thank you, everyone. I'm so sorry we are late, 15 minutes late, but well, Géza is Géza, and he's our president, and you know we must obey the president. Well, I think we are making a very nice collection of videos in our YouTube page, so keep looking, and if you can share with people, because it's important knowledge that we have here, and some very good insights, some very good inspirations, and it's important to make community, and I think this is the word for ESTA. We need to increase our community. So see you next month. Next month will be an amazing month because we will have ESTA Talk with our principal guest, Christian Coleman. I think everybody knows him because he's already 9 years in the Central Board. But we also will start the workshop series with Géza. So next month we have double prime time in your life.